thanks for joining. The idea of doing this was just to have an informal discussion around the lack of trade shows. That's where I met all of your teams for the first time. Alexei and I sat on a panel together at NexTV in Berlin a few years ago. I met the O2 team for the first time, what seems like a lifetime ago, way back when. And Yaroslav and the team, I think the first time I met the team was at Anga in Cologne a few years ago. So for me as a vendor, these events are really important. But I think the feeling is, what I'd like to understand is how you guys are feeling about not having any trade shows. Are you missing them? Are your teams missing the input? So if I just start, can we perhaps start with just an introduction of each of you? Joseph, do you want to start with just who you are, who you're working for, where you're at?
Okay, so I'm responsible for product and technical management of IPTV solution here in O2 Czech Republic. We are basically running also the operations for O2 Slovakia, but it's rather small in the scale. I would say, quite new in this position. I'm doing this just for 1.5 years. But before that, I was responsible for product management for all the other products rather than the IPTV. So working for O2 for already like 10 years. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Joseph. Alexei?
Yeah, so I've been working in telecom about 12 years. So this year I made a huge change. So I'm switching sides. So now I'm on your side, Gary. Now I'm working for a manufacturer of STBs, and we do middleware services. So kind of we are on the same side, but in the different, let's say, armies.
Sure. And Yaroslav?
All right. I'm from this NexTV company. It's difficult to say it in English. It's NexTV. It's a Czech company providing the internet and TV solutions for residential customers. I'm with this company for more than 10 years. I'm a CEO of the company, and we use the SML solution for IPTV customers right now. That's it.
Okay, super. Well, thanks, guys. Well, to start off, my first question, I guess, is how long have you guys been attending these trade shows? Do you attend them regularly? Are they part of your annual schedule, or is it an occasional thing that you go to? For me, I first went to IBC in 2003. I then got married in 2004, so I missed the show that year, and then I've been on booths every year since then. And yeah, my wife hates IBC, but for me, it's a real marker of the year, and we have the joke that if you cut your arm off, you have an IBC ring for every year you've been going. Joseph, you go to the Mobile World Conference, I think or the World Congress is more your thing. But do these shows form a big part of your year?
Shall I start or?
Yeah, Joseph, go for it.
Yeah, like trade shows like IBC are definitely important, and mostly because of the fact because you are able to meet a lot of people in quite a short time. So I would say that this is the big advantage. And I don't know how this is like manageable through the online. Maybe it's more flexible when you are doing this like face to face. And the second point, you can also uncover the things that you usually don't see either publicly or through your commercial contacts. You basically discover something new, and this is something that is also quite hard to do via online. And I was regularly visiting MVC, but when I say regularly, it was like every 2 years, 3 years. Our company has introduced a quite strict rules on the business travel, so definitely there is a demand for these visits. However, we are quite limited on resources, So if this is something that could be replaced by online, that would definitely bring more people to it because of the costs and so on. But otherwise, I try to put at least like 2 or 3 people from my team every year to attend IBC.
Okay. Okay. Yaroslav, how about you? Are these shows a big part of your year for you and your team?
Actually, it is. I actually never visited MWC, but we are usually regularly on Anga or IBC, and we switch it every year. We actually switch the trade show, so every year we go either to IBC or Anga.
Okay.
So we do it this way. And actually, I first attended the Anga in 2010, I guess, or maybe 2009. And from that time, regularly every second year. And with the switch to IBC. For me, it's also important to see a new technology and what is going on the telecom market and video market, especially for IBC. And it's always good to see what is. It's funny to see that every year is some topic like 3D TV, and everybody talk about a 3D TV. Nothing else exists, so it's just a 3D TV world. And next year you can see that the previous topic was completely gone, and there is an exchange for something else. So it's interesting for us to see what is the new trend for a new years. We usually go like 4 people, and we usually take it like disadvantage as an advantage to talk, and so we have it like a long, I would say, long company meeting with everything was what is a part of the trade show, including the evenings and so on. So it's I really enjoy it. It's very useful for me and others in our team.
That's great. That's great. Alexei, how about you?
Yeah, for me, ABC is like a reporting period in the whole industry. So it's a big event, or all the companies are make a show off of their technology, what they do, what they accomplish during the year. And especially as the topics rises, is the good place to fish the ideas of a future market, because a lot of operators are sharing ideas, are communicating, and important for vendors to be there and to capture all this idea and to put them in place in the product that will be released next year. So for me, ABC is definitely an iconic event. I totally love it. In my company, as I was used to work, we also had some travel restrictions, but in that year, but I'm not allowed to go from the company budget. I was going from my own budget. So I was just taking the leave from the work. I'm paying for the ticket. I'm going to the ABC. Because if you want to stay in the line with all the industry, to know what will happen, to understand the challenges that the industry is facing, you definitely should be there.
Yeah, so it's that important. You were funding it yourself rather than the company budget. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. So for me, I think I agree that the roadmap. I'm still on the booth, so we're talking about our products and what we're showing, and meeting the customers is great. But I think that seeing the roadmap, seeing those new features, I think is critical for us all. And I think that's perhaps the one point that would be really difficult with these digital, the way the shows are moving to a digital platform at the moment. I think that's really hard to pick up those new features that you might catch out the side of your eye, or something's interesting. And I think that's very hard to emulate. For me, Yaroslav, you mentioned the 3D TV. That year at IBC, it was like nothing else in the world existed. Everything was going to be 3D. And then the next year it was completely gone. And then there was the gesture control, remote controls, where every booth had a 3-meter square marked out, and people with wands, changing channel and all, crazy stuff. But you see a bit of now, but not so much. And then I think this last couple of years, there's been a lot more VR and the AI use. And I think that side of things is really difficult to show. How do you show that in a digital environment? That's not particularly easy to demonstrate even at a trade show. So I think the current roadmap is going to be very hard to show. So what else do you think or is the key? So the key things for you at these trade shows is your roadmap ideas and future vision, or is it the whole package? It's meeting other people, meeting your providers, catching up with friends and colleagues. It's all of that. Is there anything special that I think you're going to miss from this year? We've just been joined by Mikhail. Hi, Mikhail. For me, I think it's those roadmap features are the key, and I think you've all touched on those quite well. What about meeting? Have you met people at these shows that that you perhaps wouldn't have met beforehand or afterwards? People that are now key to your businesses and key to your peer groups. Whether that's suppliers or consultants or influencers. Yaroslav, are they good for meeting those new people, or it's more general than that for you?
Actually, it's both. Usually we set up the meetings because with the partners which we have abroad, it's a good point to meet. So we have a lot of meetings, usually scheduled in advance, and of course we like to meet the new people, especially on the new booth, where we usually actually search for a new technology and a new different approaches for solving the tasks. And it's so for us it's usually both. First, it's a perfect place for meeting the people we usually know over the email, but not personally. So it's a very good, and I think it cannot be replaced by the video conferencing at all. And second, meeting new people, it's also I would say it's a half of the trade show to find the new people and new technologies. Usually we do not plan it, but usually we have a lot of good contacts, which in time we can find that sometimes it's very useful, sometimes it's not, but it's a good place to meet the people and basically think about the new features and new stuff what we see. It's impossible to do it online at all. So
how do you stumble across those people you've never met before?
Exactly.
Don't know what you're looking for.
You got a lot of spam, so you can search through the spam, but it's better to see it on the stand and meet those people.
Sure. Joseph, how about you?
Yeah, I would see this like in the same way. So basically, if you are somewhere physically, there is a lot of opportunities to meet somebody impulsively, because I perceive trade shows not as something that I would preferably meet the people I already know or I am in the frequent touch with, but rather to meet somebody I haven't met before,
Yeah.
And it's quite difficult to get something very interesting just out of the internet sources. My question to you guys is, what kind of internet sources do you use regularly to dig out for the technologies and new trends in the industry? I personally use or read regularly the broadband TV news, but I wonder if there is another interesting source you are using.
Alexei or Yaroslav, do you want to answer that? Any other news sources?
Yeah, I do, but I would like to answer your question. So what I'll miss about this, I think nothing probably can get you a better deal than an informal discussion at the round table with a cold beer. This was the place to make best deals ever. So online communication will never give us this opportunity. Because anyway, IT, unfortunately, or to be happy, it's a man business right now. And this communication, live communication and informal stuff was probably the key of to the success of this exhibition. So I totally all gonna miss that stuff. Regarding the new sources, so I do like to read the articles that I'm receiving from guys that are organizing the conference in Berlin.
the NextTV guys.
Yeah, the NextTV. Yeah, they do very good researches for all the different markets, like Europe, and when we have Latam, EMEA, so they're pretty good on it. And LinkedIn probably have a lot of friends that do work in this industry, and they do share a lot of stuff. So, and to fill the comments, because you can read an article, right, but someone somewhere, but you'll never understand the point of the perspective of a company. And when some top manager share an article and says, look, I kind of read this stuff, but I'm not totally agree. This is probably the thing I'm looking for now. But about the industry, so probably NextTV will be like my primary source of information because they do this really good statistics.
That's really useful, Alexei. Yaroslav, are you reading anything at the moment? Do you have a news feed that you're relying on?
Actually, no. Actually, just the local sources, usually local resources. But the IBC and Anga is really the main point for the new ideas, and I think that with the information from there, we can stay a long time to actually find whether this is something what we are looking for and so on. So usually once a year we are getting the new ideas from those two events, and then we actually getting just local resources about the stuff, but not extra sources of the technical information from the telecommunication.
Okay. Well, Joseph, I have news feeds coming in all day, so I read broadband TV news, but also things from Informa and Detaxis and NextTV, and I can forward my emails to you so that you can then sign up if that would be, or put them in the bin.
Please do.
Just to share those with you. They have slightly different views, but they're interesting, and it does help to complement what goes on at the trade shows. So I'll send those to you as well. But also the LinkedIn piece. LinkedIn is very important nowadays. I think there's so much going on there as a platform. So again, it's worth keeping following the groups on there. But I'll send some links through that I'm seeing every day. Moving on a little bit. We talked a bit earlier about the digital replacements. Some of the shows are moving to a digital platform. IBC 365, they're talking about doing actually during the week of the show, the exhibition, actually allowing people to present things in some sort of structured way. Have you so far engaged with any of those online replacements? There was I took part in the Connected TV World Summit, which was one of the first ones in London to be cancelled, and that was quite good. It was quite compelling. And then there's been lots of webinars, and every day you can spend a couple of hours a day on these webinars, and I've done a few of those. But I must admit there's a bit of fatigue going on at the moment. My inbox is becoming full of this webinar and that webinar, and you think, oh, is my day going to be complete? When actually that was probably a 10-minute walk around IBC to have seen those guys. It's 3 months of webinars. Have you guys taken part in any of those shows? I know, I think Anga is talking about doing the same.
Me not.
Joseph, have you done any?
No.
No. So that's massive, isn't it? We haven't.
Yeah, everybody is trying to offer something.
Yeah. So you'd be more comfortable walking around the show, but the digital platform is much harder to engage with. Alexei, how about you?
I'm keeping myself safe, so I'm not participating. There's a lot of stuff, but it can mess your head around, because nowadays everyone trying to be online and give you the information they probably don't need. And they'll tell you, this is the main trend, this is what you're gonna do, this is what you wanna buy. I'm thinking we should definitely, all the companies should be more responsible for the content they deliver, and try not to push too hard the market, because at this moment, like as you told, my email become like a trash can. Yeah. I'm receiving too much information, and all this information doesn't give me any value. So most of the time I'm just unsubscribing from someone, and probably next time when we'll have to communicate me something very valuable, they'll don't have the opportunity. So probably the company should be much more careful with information they send.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, Yaroslav, I want to comment on that, Alexei, but it's Yaroslav. How about you? Have you engaged in any of the digital platforms or any of the digital pseudo shows that have been going on?
Not really, actually. I agree completely with Alexei. The companies should be much more wiser, decided when they send the information and when you need those information. Otherwise, they will completely overwhelm you with the information and nobody will read it. So right now, and also I agree with you. I don't want to spend 3 months of webinars. Which I can use for something else, and I can spend 10 minutes just to go over the IBC or Anga to see those people and decide very quickly whether this is important for me or not. So it's about the time, and I think that nobody wants to spend the time on webinars when in 15 minutes you recognize that it's for nothing. So I don't know what should be the advice for those people who do it. But it seems to me it's more about the organization, but the spamming our emails with more and more webinars is not the way. So I'm looking for some, I don't know, web page where you can choose what you are interested in, and then you go to the section what you like and go through there. But if somebody will send you just the spams or the invitation for webinars, it will not work for a long time. Sure.
It's really interesting that you're saying that, because we within SmartLabs have got a real dilemma of the marketing budget. We have budgets to be spent on these events and to go to these shows and to generate new business. And without these shows, there's a bit of a hole. And I can see the other companies having the same conversations. And that's where these spams are coming from. We must do something. Let's send an email. Let's put on a webinar. And actually, the value of this is to listen to you guys, and you're saying very strongly, yeah, that's not working. You're going to lose me as a trusted partner or as a friend if you keep sending me this rubbish. So it's a very interesting conundrum that the business, I think, is struggling with at the moment, because these shows have been cancelled for most of the year. And I guess that comes on to my final question, really, which is, what next? I think we can deal maybe with the year. I think that's going to be perhaps a blip in our roadmap, and we'll all be able to talk and get over it. But if the social distancing continues, if the bans on mass gatherings continues, do we think next year we'll have another year without shows? And how can the people like the IBC organisers or the Mobile World Congress organisers, what can they do? What would be your nugget of advice? Alexei, shall I come to you first?
Yeah, hopefully the situation will end. Yeah, but the business is still going on. So probably, but business should learn to take advantage of new, let's say, advertising tools that are online. Make the content near to the client, to prepare it much more clear and much more. We should change the way we do demo of a product or receive a demo of a product. This is definitely will be a game changer this year, because till now, like all the vendors, manufacturer of the set-top box was kind of like, I have these exhibitions, everyone will come and will see me, and I'll show them the demo of the booth of the product. Now, probably the industry should learn a different way of doing stuff. And probably what I'll do, I'll keep researching the internet and looking for good-looking websites with good information, the structured information, with friendly stuff that can give me a reply to an email and assist me on the demo, not in 2 weeks, but the moment I need, real-time communication. So I expect the industry to do this way, like to be much more closer to the client in sense of kind of retail, going to the retail business, like take the same business practices from retail, when you say, let's say, fitness, and take it to this major business as we spend long communication, long contract deals, when we spend months and months about planning the visit, then the demo, and so on, to be much shorter and much more quality way.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So more of a retail model in the B2B market. that's being responsive and not pushing people away. It's very, very interesting. Joseph, how about you? A nugget of advice for the IBC and Mobile World Congress organisers.
You mean for the organisers?
Yeah, for the organisers.
Yeah, definitely they have to somehow resolve this, how to quickly orientate between the offers and the suppliers, to give you a space to provide a short pitch, interactive pitch that will help people to orientate and evaluate if this is a reasonable offer for them or not.
Sure. And Yaroslav, how about you?
Well, I think that this coronavirus actually brings us, the new opportunity for this show and organizers of the show. I think that what is missing, and I think that the people will see it very, very quickly. There is missing some integrator or any portal which can actually combine all of the companies who want to show something, and it can be some kind of independent, like an IBC, EIBC. Which can actually provide the show electronically over the internet, which it can look actually similar to the plan, to the space plan, and when you click on the booth, you will get some presentation, and it's quite easy to do it, but it's missing on the market. There is no independent resources where you can see on the same place a lot of different companies with a different focus. What you can see is actually everything is actually focused on a very simple or a very short part of the telecommunication, like IPTV. So you have to go there and you will just see the IPTV and everything what is about the IPTV, but you don't see any transcoders or something or hardware. And I think this is missing on the market. And if we will go the same way as we did this spring, then it's something what somebody will have to develop, and it's a good opportunity for the future. On the other hand, I hope that this will not happen, and we will meet everybody in Amsterdam or Anga again, so that's much better,
Yeah. And I'm hearing that strongly from all three of you, to be honest, that actually the shows are a really important part of the year. They're not just a jolly, a meeting, the beers in the sun are great, and, the canals and, Barcelona are excellent, and Cologne has always been fabulous. But actually the business that goes on at these shows is really important for us all, both on the customer and the supplier side. So I really hope, and we can just wrap this up now. I think we're pretty much done with time. We hope that this virus and the pandemic passes, and that we can get back to having these shows, because they are really important. And I'm hearing that from all of you loud and clear. So thanks for your time this afternoon. I think that's almost exactly half an hour, which has been really useful. So Alexei, thanks for your input. Joseph, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much. And Yaroslav, it's really great to see you. So thanks for your time this afternoon. Keep safe, and cheers. It's only water, but it's a beer glass. It counts. Okay. That's a proper beer glass. Thanks, Yaroslav. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.